left us with a lot of work to do around closing learning gaps. And so we did not want to set a very aggressive goal here. We just kind of wanted to maintain where we were. And so it was just a 1% growth, thinking that, before the pandemic, spring 2019, the 20% for Humphreys was a great increase. Like, I think it was an increase of about 10%. But that's a lot of momentum that had been built with Miss Mitchell and her team. And so a lot of that momentum stopped after 2019. And so we really have to build back up to where we were, but we will use that as a goal. And again, with the attendance, I think in this forum, especially, we've talked about attendance, and that will continue. That's been a barrier. It probably will continue to be a barrier, but we are going to put some strategies in to address that and hopefully remove that barrier.
Okay.
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 Okay, so the third bullet there, this budget, our budget for this year is $3,533,348. So that will need to be a correction, Ms.
Okay.
Fowler. So since you and I completed this, you mostly.
Okay.
There was a correction with our signature program funding. And so
Okay.
our signature program funding was decreased by $9,990. And so roughly $10,000. And so that number will.
So what's the new number? I'm sorry. What's the new number?
It's $3,533,348.
48. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'll change it when we're done. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And so, and then this particular budget is projecting us having 190 students, which we were projected to have 221 for this current school year. And so that's a decrease of 31 students. Right now, we have 211. And so if we do, continue to have, 211 or, roughly 211 for next school year, that would be an increase of what the projection were. And we could earn more funding at that time. Okay, so this is kind of how the budget rolls out. And you see the projected enrollment there, 190 students. And we just said that's a decrease of 31. Okay, so the instructional, the FTE, those are full-time equivalent. So that's the number of positions that are dedicated to those allocations. So we have instruction, that's of course the majority. And then we have those there. Pupil services, those are people like our psychologists, adaptive PE teacher, are those things. Improvement of instructional services, that is our signature programming. Educational media services, of course, our media specialists. School administration, myself, Ms. Todd Johnson, and our front office staff. And then maintenance and operations, those are our custodians and our site mechanic. And you see the per pupil allocations to the far right, and how that breaks down. And at any time, please hop in with questions. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Was that transportation that's a part of the school's budget?
So that is for field trips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's for field trips. And then we did budget $2,000. We hopefully we can start venturing out into the city for field trips next school year. We won't be under any restraints for COVID. We have started field trips this year, but they've been primarily district funded field trips and district initiated field trips. But there's so much more for our students to see. And so hopefully next year we'll be able to venture out into the city.
Good.
Okay, that pie graph there shows the breakdown of our budget. And of course, it's mainly instruction, but you do see some of the others that we talked about as well. And I do just want to say that if you go back.
Go back.
One, okay, yeah. So this, these numbers here, you really don't equate those to people's salaries because it's just a different formula. It includes salaries and benefits and some other fringe. And so you wouldn't necessarily say, you know, one person, oh, okay, they make $180,000. That's not how that works. I just wanted to point that out. Okay. All right.
Here.
Again, yep. So we talked about that.
Okay.
Okay. So also for next year, and we did this year as well, we will receive CARES federal funding. And so this is different from our regular title funding that schools receive. This is CARES, and it was, you know, about the CARES as a response to the pandemic. The federal government was able to support schools and school systems with additional funding to address the pandemic. And so as you can see there, our CARES funding is $157,807. For next school year, we are going to fund our instructional coach and 2 paraprofessionals with this money. By funding our instructional coach with this money, it frees up other money in our general fund. And so it was really like a swap. With CARES funding, the allocations are based on actual salaries, whereas in our general fund, that allocation is based on an average of that position. And so that move there saved us close to $20,000 funding her out of the CARES funding versus the general fund. And so that saved us about $20,000. And then the 2 paraprofessionals, we just really need more bodies in the building, and they will directly support our interventions that we will add and the intervention that the district has for next school year.
Is that CARES funding just for one school year?
No, ma'am. So we got it this year, actually. We got it this year. We were not able to, and Ms. Mitchell, she constructed the budget for the CARES for this year, so FY22. And she had the 2 paras and an EIP teacher. And we were not able to hire an EIP teacher. And we only got 1 of the paras. And so a lot of that money we were able to swatch out and go to our general fund and we're able to purchase a lot of technology. We should be able to, we have already ordered quite a bit of technology for next year. And so that's kind of what that was done with the 22 CARES funding. So we talked about next year, the 23, there will also be a 24 allocation as well.
Okay,
Okay, so that was 3 years.
okay.
Okay, and so some of the other things that the district is doing, so with the CARES allocations, is that funds our intervention program. It funds our summer academy, which we'll have some more information about that within the coming months. And then the extended day for our elementary schools. And so, and we'll have those for the next 2 years. We're a total of 3 years. Okay, and so this is what can be used, what you can use the CARES funding for. But again, we're using it for personnel, which covers a lot of this. We will have a little bit left over that we hope to carry over for next year. And if that is the case, we're probably going to look to do another teacher tutor, which are part-time retired teachers that come in and help. And so if we do get that rollover, and it won't happen before, October, September, we hope to bring on another teacher tutor if that's the case.
Great.
Okay, Ms. Fowle. Okay, so what's next? Let's see, we're farther down. Okay, so one-on-one associate superintendent discussions for Humphreys, that will occur on this Friday. And then cluster planning sessions, program manager discussions and approvals, Go team feedback sessions, and staffing conferences. Okay, so the one-on-one associate superintendent discussions, those have already happened. Our staffing conference is the one that will take place on Friday. And so this is when we go and kind of finalize the budget and the personnel that we've requested for next year. Okay, and then the final one.
Did you go back?
So our next Go team meeting, we will meet to approve the budget. Okay. Alrighty, so any questions? And this was a kind of a, not necessarily abbreviated, but it doesn't really have all of the details of the budget. If you have any questions, we can entertain them at this time, but if you think of one further down the road, please don't hesitate to ask. Have an open door policy and we can meet and show you in more detail.
Slides complete. Okay, so we'll go on. You went through this already.
Mm-hmm.
This one. This. Did we go through this part? Priorities?
No, we didn't.
Okay, you're here.
Okay, so so we took the again, everything that's in our budget, we tried to tie it to those 2 priorities. The school achievement, the academic achievement of the students, and then removing the barriers about attendance. And so that, again, that directly impacts the first one. So we have to do a much better job getting our students here every day. Then we looked at the APS 5, which is the district's initiatives around achievement. And so we're making sure that those are aligned to what we have here. Request to ask what needs to be funded in order to support the strategy again, these are just kind of questions and guardrails around when we're actually putting the budget together.
Okay.
Okay. And so these are the APS 5 initiatives, curriculum and instruction, whole child and intervention. And I think on the next slide, you have data and some of those others, Ms. Fowler.
Okay. Hold on. Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
No problem. Okay.
So you want to go over that one? Yeah, that's the next one. So the
Okay.
priorities.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, there we go. Mhm.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so Title I holdback and family engagement funds. So again, we talked about one hourly teacher tutor, which is already in our budget. And so if we get more of the holdback of the rollover, we will look to hire an additional. But she's already in our budget now for next year.
Okay,
Okay, and then the paraprofessional, we talked about that. Hiring two paraprofessionals for next year to directly work with our intervention, our district interventions, and then some school-based interventions that we have in place, or we will have in place. Okay, and then there's questions for the Go team to consider. I think, Ms. Fowler, you wanted to do these?
yeah, that's fine. Okay, are our school priorities from your strategic plan reflect in this budget? So A, are new positions and or resources included in the budget to address our major priorities? B, do we know as a team the plan to support implementation of these priorities beyond the budget? Like, for example, what strategies will be implemented? And C, what trade-offs are being made in order to support these priorities? So these are that's the first set of questions. And then number two, how are the district and cluster priorities reflect in our budget? A, cluster priorities, what staff, materials, are dedicated to supporting our clusters priorities, signature programs, what staff materials are dedicated to supporting our signature program. And C, are there positions our school will share with another school, nurse, counselor?
Okay.
So these are questions that the Go team should consider. Are there any questions, any concerns, any questions that
So
you did not
with these
understand?
questions, you guys should actually like discuss them.
I know, that's when I let them read them.
Oh,
So that's
okay,
what I'm
sorry.
asking. I said, do we? Okay, so let's go back. So I read them all. So let's talk about our school priorities. They reflect in the budget. Can we all agree that they do?
Yes, if we're speaking especially to student achievement, I believe they are, especially with the funding of the teacher, the paras, the additional para support. I believe that we've addressed that.
Especially with the new positions.
That's correct, yes.
Mhm. What about B? Do we know the plan to support implementation of the priorities beyond the budget? Like, what are the strategies that will be implemented? Do we know as a Go team?
I'm not even sure if I understand that question. I mean,
Did I say it wrong? No.
Now, well, it says beyond the budget. I don't know
beyond.
what they're talking about beyond the budget.
I'm just assuming if we're creating these positions to address our goal of student achievement, what is it that, what purpose or what role will those positions serve?
Okay.
Beyond their
That's
budget.
beyond the, but yeah, so what,
I
so
see
we
what you're
have
saying.
them in place, but what is it that, how will they contribute? I guess that's how I'm interpreting.
Right, that's right. So like if, and this is just an example, like if in the strategic plan breakout, it says that we're gonna be paying for a counselor, then on the flip side of that, do we know like what strategies are attached to whatever it is that we funded?
Mhm.
Like the strategies in ensuring that that's implemented or it's successful or
I believe it's their role. So if we
their
have
roles, okay.
an additional para, because I put for the paraprofessional support, I put intervention next to that paraprofessional.
Mhm.
But how is it that that paraprofessional will support intervention? Is it with the district block of time or throughout the day? What is it that that person in that position will do? What strategies will they use, you know,
Okay.
in their
So
role?
there will be one para, and we'll see which one is best suited. But there will be one para that will facilitate our math lab. So next year we will have a math lab that students will go in as a part of the enrichment schedule. So one para will do that, and the other para will be an instructional para that will provide assistance during the district's intervention block, but also intervention initiatives that we have throughout the school.
Oh, okay.
To assist with small group, Mr. Trimble, small group and,
Yes.
okay.
So what trade-offs are being made in order to support these priorities?
I guess the biggest trade-off would be that extra EIP teacher. That is something that we kind of need. We need another EIP teacher, but the budget just wouldn't allow for it. As you all saw, we projected with 31 fewer students, and that kind of equates to roughly $100,000. And so we had to make that $100,000 up somewhere. And so just with a lot of things that we wanted to do for next year, like one of the other things is we wanted to have a full-time person to do our response to intervention. Again, we won't be able to do that. So that are some of the trade-offs is, some of the instructional support positions that we wanted to have. We will not be able to have it, at least in that form that we wanted. Now, I think that with these paras and just being kind of innovative with their use, it's going to help. And then for next year, we will also have a full-time writing class, whereas this year we started it only in January. So we're going to be full-time with that next year. So I think the trade-offs would be, it just won't look like we envisioned. However, we're going to make it work with what we got.
Okay. So moving to question 2, how the district cluster priorities reflect in our budget?
I think it reflects primarily with our signature programming. And so even though our signature programming was cut, it was cut by $10,000, we would still be able to do some of the STEM initiatives that we've been working on all year and making sure that those carry over for next year. Oh, so that kind of leads into the next would be as well, the signature programming. And so we'll continue to be able to support that and grow that. But again, we just losing a slight decrease there But we
Oh,
still,
so they just said about the $9,000, like,
last
Wow.
week, like I said, whenever we did this, I think we
Uh-huh.
did this.
Before.
Like a couple of days after that, yeah.
oh, okay, wow, okay. Was that just based on enrollment, Mr. Trimble?
So yeah, what used to happen there is every school, no matter what, would get the same amount. And so they just went to a formula that gives those funds out based on student enrollment.
Oh,
What's the, when they basing these funds on student enrollment, what is the cutoff? For the enrollment? Is it by the beginning of school year or school term, or? I mean, what's the cutoff?
So we
Determine-
have what they call FTE dates. And for ours, it's the first Tuesday in October.
Okay.
So that's what they base those on. But the projections are different. And then what they do the projections on are more, trends in the neighborhood. Looking at the neighborhood, are the demographics as far as are there younger families or older families, the movement and the transiency in the apartments, all of that comes into place for the projections. But for the enrollments, they look at our October FTE. And so we have one in October and one in April, but they look at the one in October.
Okay.
C, are there positions our school will share with another school, like the nurse or the counselor?
Not nurse or counselor. Of course, some of our enrichment staff, we share with other schools. So that's art, music, band, those things we share with other schools because we just don't have enough to have them full time.
Okay, so who would be the full-time, like everybody else will still be full-time, is that correct?
No, only Coach Hannah is full time. All of our other enrichment teachers are part time or itinerant. I'm sorry, is a difference. So they're itinerant, not part time.
Oh, okay. All right. Can we move on to the next slide, Go Team?
Mhm.
Yes.
I definitely see the need for having a full-time nurse and counselor at our school.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we
Mhm.
definitely have a need.
And social worker.
And social workers.
Yes.
Yes.
Social worker. Yeah. Mhm.
Oops. Is that it? Let me see.
That wasn't enough, Mrs. Fowler.
Yeah, that,
That's enough. Yeah, I'm just making sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure we covered all our bases, Mr. Trimble.
that's good. Thank you, Mr. Trimble, for explaining all of that.
And like I say, please, we could go in, if you would like, we can go in further detail. But anything you all need, please just let me know.
Okay, so thank you again, Mr. Trimble, for sharing the information. I'm sure after we had an opportunity to review it again, we might have some additional questions prior to the budget approval meeting. So now we will move to information items. First is the principal's report. So Mr. Trimble, do you have a report you would like to share?
No report,
No.
nothing in
Okay.
addition.
All right, nothing additional. Okay, so now we will move to announcements. We do have an announcement from the Go Team office. Declarations for the Go Team elections are open until February the 28th. We will need at least 2 parent, guardian candidates and 2 non-supervisor instructional staff candidates. If you are interested and or know of anyone else who will be a good fit for our team, please direct them to the apsstrongschools.com to declare their candidacy. If you have any questions, contact the Go Team. Does anyone have any additional announcements?
Ms. Fowler, can you repeat the number of positions that we need for next year?
Okay, so we will need at least 2 parents or guardian candidates.
Is
and
Ms.
2
Barnes coming
non-
on?
No, Ms. Barnes is not.
Not
It's
yet.
It's
Okay.
Mr. Nash, and I know that's his last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
hmm
okay.
But with Miss, what's her name?
But so I can tell you, I have it right here.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
don't we
your
have the
parents-
2-parent already?
Your 2 parents that their terms are up will be Ms. Barnes and Avis Lundy. And then the 2 staff members, Ms. McNamee and Ms. Amiyah.
Dr. Amula, yes.
Amiyah, yeah.
Ms. Gibson, can I, Ms. Barnes, she came on after Mr. Nash, Xavier Nash.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have her joining the team as of October 27th, 2020. But if you serve, so she joined like later, but
Right.
she's still, filling in for that seat. So we still will hold elections for that seat at the normal time.
Okay, would she be able to run again or no?
Is Ms. Barnes, are you a staff member at the school?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so will you have a child that'll still be at the school for at least a year?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, you would be eligible. Mhm.
Okay,
And then what about Asha Wright? Because she would still be on, right?
So that is the community member seat. So that term is gonna be up she's in the odd community seat. So she'll
She's
be
a parent.
fine.
she's
Okay.
fine, right.
Yeah.
And I have to jump off for another meeting, but if you guys have any questions, just let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you guys for pulling this together. Okay. All right, have a great day.
You too.
okay. So after, if there's no more announcements, the Go Team meeting is adjourned.
So Ms. McNamee, we need 2 more parents and what else?
Yes, let me go ahead and stop streaming real quick. I think that's the end of the meeting, correct?
Oh, I need a motion. Hold
Yes.
on. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second?
I
Second.
second.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. All
Aye.
opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please raise your hand. The meeting is adjourned.